Hello! Welcome to another Stonehearth DevStream. It is Tuesday, and it is 6 o'clock, so we will start the stream as usual. Alright guys, it is good to see you all again. Today I thought we could work on writing things. It's been a sort of like chaotic short week because we've pushed those last we pushed a build today actually with some more bug fixes for Alpha 18, and we are cleaning up and doing a bunch of stuff so that we will be ready for PAX. We're all flying out on Thursday so that we can help set up the booth and everything, and so it's been a little bit of a chaotic week. So instead of actually starting something like long and new, or even continuing last week's sound stuff, or even fixing bugs like that I don't know if I will be able to check in before the end of the stream today, I thought I would fall back on something that I really enjoy and write some flavor text for the game with all of your help. And also because TPC Turtle Squish is here, and I feel guilty because I still haven't read about the Legend of Rose Bell Tower, so I think we should just start with doing that. So all of you guys who haven't read the Legend of Rose Bell Tower, let's all do that together, because Turtle Squish has been telling me about it for 2 weeks, and I feel terrible that I haven't actually read it yet. Alright, but before we start, I wanted to thank all of you who have been playtesting Alpha 18. Alpha 18 has been a lot of fun for all of us because it's about blowing things up, and that's always entertaining. The brunt of that work was done by Chris, for removing buildings and tearing the buildings into pieces and like throwing them all up into the air. And the brunt of this week's work was done by Albert, and he made it, and as you can see in the Desktop Tuesday today, he made it so that you can fill in holes when the buildings, basically you can give the terrain service a region, and the terrain service will replace that region with terrain, if there had ever been terrain there before. And that leads to the incredibly awesome bug that you guys were seeing earlier, that has been reported on Discourse, that like if you mine out something and then you build something with the slab and then you remove the slab, then that thing is automatically replaced by terrain, which you can then mine out. So that is pretty awesome, and I hope you guys do cool things with it before we have to fix it, and maybe hopefully we will bring that functionality back when we continue with the terrain tool. Oh, Turtle Squish, like, I'm sorry to hear that this is probably your last evening stream. I know that it is super difficult to make all the streams, and like we try to have them at different times, but hopefully you will still get to catch Allie's streams in the morning. Do you get resources back when you blow up the slab and it is replaced? I believe you do, actually. So now this is just free resourceville. Undoubtedly we will close that loophole also at some point, but at the moment it is totally awesome. Holy cow, Keister! You know, I'm probably not supposed to confirm or deny. Albert was like, I've introduced a way of like getting an infinite amount of gold in the game, and I was like, what? How? And then he outlined exactly how, and I was like, oh, like probably no one will find that, like gold mines aren't close to the surface and blah 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 blah. And there you go, Geister, you've played a lot of these games, so congratulations to you. Indeed, it is free clay, free gold, free copper, free everything week. This is hilarious. So all of you who are on stream, all of us together in this room, can know today that that this is actually the case, and keep it to yourselves or not, or whatever. Like, make some awesome cities while the loophole is still open. All right. Yes, exactly. The in-game economy has just crashed. It's that magic terrain replacement, like whenever you add magic to things, it becomes very dangerous, right? So anyway, feel free to use the exploit or don't use the exploit. I mean, you could always have like downloaded debug tools and given yourselves baskets of gold. But I do think it's fantastic, and it's just like the way that you thought of it as an exploit. Yes, it's awesome. A yellow brick road. Yeah, we could totally do that. I think it's actually really interesting how whatchamacallit, the Wizard of Oz is actually like an entire indictment of the silver standard, like during the 1880s and 1890s when they wanted to change the economy from having a gold back standard to a silver back standard. You know, maybe our yellow brick road can tie into like an economic simulation, if we ever had the time to put an economic simulation inside Stonehearth. The Teemo, awesome. It is. I will look forward to seeing you at PAX 2. Yes, it is very cool. Alright. It is time for Caves and Dungeons. It really is. This, I think the vote tells its own tale. Interesting. What vote is this? I'm curious. Is this about whether or not to, like, keep it that way? Alright, so, okay, so, happy to take any questions that you guys have about Alpha 18 throughout the course of the stream. And today's stream, like I said, is hopefully about writing, and since it's going to be about writing, and Turtle Squish is always telling me to read some more lore, I thought I would read his Legend of Rose Bell Tower here online. So the night they didn't come. The sun was sliding behind the pages of the horizon. Ominous echoes of mining rattled through the earth. Distant thudding of lumberjacks wafted on the breeze. Shadows of houses began to stretch and deepen. Shapes of trees began to dance on the ground. Night was falling over the small mountain town. That is a beautiful introductory paragraph. Can I just say that? The sun was sliding down behind the pages of the horizon. Like, is that because of Ali's end of the world book concept? Because it's very evocative. The town was empty. Only the huddled form of Rose Bell Tower could be seen as she hurried from the stockpile. No other soul braved the darkness of this night. Rose shivered a little, then continued in the direction of the fire pit. She was alone. It was time. Rose approached the fire pit. She hesitated for a moment, then stepped over the stones and stood directly in the fire pit and lowered the log to the floor. She took a deep breath. She scraped flint against steel and a spark flashed out. No fire. She could hear her heart beat through her ribs. Like, seriously, I'm kind of worried now. She struck again. No fire. A thin layer of sweat shined on her skin. She struck again. Still no fire. Her arms began to shake and her breath came in gasps. She struck one last time with a hiss. The wood was aflame. The flames flickered and beat like a heart as they began to bite into the flesh of the log. The fire was alight, but no hearthlings came to enjoy its heat. You know, I'm beginning to wonder about the wisdom of reading a fanfic online, or a fiction, any kind of fiction online that I've not actually read to the end of first. But okay, we're committed, let's keep going. Already the growing flame had risen over Rose's ankles, but she felt no pain. The hollowing sound of the pickaxe still rose from below. The log now burnt fearfully, and tongues of flame touched her waist. The thud of the axe still wafted from the forest. All of Rose's fears were gone. She calmly stood as the inferno embraced her entire body. The courtyard was now illuminated by the ferocious flames, but none of the hearthlings were there to witness the unburnt sentinel in the fire. Oh, this is because you have a Rose Bell Tower, right? Who's like standing in the fire? Okay, gotcha. The night wore on, the flames burnt on, the other hearthlings worked on. Still Rose Bell Tower stood in her throne of fire. The blaze wilted the log. Time crawled. Rose stood. The fire began to die. The hearthlings still didn't come. The sun peeked over the horizon. The log was gone, consumed by the fires of the night. The hearthlings climbed out of the mine. Congratulations, hearthlings. I mean, like, that's pretty special. Rose stepped out of the fire pit, unhurt. The rooster called. It was a day. A legend stood that night. For those who don't understand what story I'm talking about, watch DevStream 205. Hope you enjoyed Turtle Squish. That was very cool. Let's, like, make this an 11-like thing. A poem for one we should all remember. Wow. Alright. That was fabulous. There it is, Rose Bell Tower, you bet. Oh, I see. It's wow, that's really what the fire pit is indented. Okay, that's awesome. I hope she can get out. It would be interesting. Remember Rose. Wow. This is very epic. Thank you, Turtle Squish, for writing it. Thank you. I enjoy reading out loud. It's actually the best way, I think, to test if your writing has like repeated words in it. Like we have a loop in our head that replays the last 7 seconds to us all the time, so it's very easy to hear. Oh, that was very cool. I think it's actually really great because one day Hearthlings are going to be hurt by fire, and like they're gonna just have these tribal memories of a time in which the fire didn't actually hurt them, and so that's going to be kind of exciting. All right. Well, thank you for writing. I look forward to reading more of your fanfic. Let me think. This is... I'm curious. Right, Alpha 18 arrives on Steam latest. I just wanted to double check. Like, there is one of these updates. So I wanted to start with something very straightforward, whereby maybe we go to Shed and we fill in flavor text that hasn't yet been added. So let's see. Remember when they used to carry the burning log around? Yeah, that was classy. That was epic. Can't even remember what save Booma was on. Rise Children. Probably got deleted. RIP Booma. You bet. Okay, let's see. So, I believe that Allie added a bunch of Potter recipes, that were in her, Jobs Potter recipes. Yep. So just, oh right, these are just the Rise Children one, Jobs Potter, and then this is the recipes. Okay, so, let's see. And she'd added some windows, and let's just open the game, shall we? And do it that way. It might be easier. I'm confused as to how this is Potter test. Like... very confused. Also, where's the UI? Alright. Cool. Guess what, Runa Juggle? You get to be a Potter now. Oh, that was easy. Like, if only all jobs were so easily acquired. Alright, let's pause it. Okay. So, let's see. Pile of bricks. Or clay pile, anyway. A pile of clay stacked together. An excellent way to store lots of clay for later use. Small urns. Mischievous kids break these pots all the time looking for treasure. Large urn. Clay safety standard. Clay market stall. Wow, okay. To-do. Great. Has this been to-do for this long? Wow. Soothing blue latticed window. Green like the few scrubs in the desert. It's a window's dream of spring. Green latticed window. Matches red clay walls. Interesting. I had not realized that all of these dudes had so many to-dos on them. You know and love and tan. These remind me, like, I know Allie wrote them. They remind me of the stuff inside like The Sims, like the descriptions, like they sound like on purpose, like they're from they sound on purpose like they're from like catalogs. This is actually probably the wrong picture. I think it's supposed to be an empty clay chair, but it looks better that way. Designed by the M. Potted cactus. Tile cools inside and out. Alright, so begin thinking, if you will, about possible things that these guys could have in their section, in their flavor section. And remember, the flavor section hints at some story, some unifying story, oftentimes, that is going on in the background of the game, specifically relevant to the Potter and to Rise Children or to any of the places where an item like this might have begun its life. Let's see. Will there eventually be a stack of clay bricks as well as unrefined clay? That's a good question. I feel like clay bricks are crafted. You have to go out of your way to get them, so you're much less likely to have like too many of them than you are of having too much clay. And the goal of this is to turn 18 pieces of clay into one piece of clay, which reduces the amount of memory overhead in the game. Like these clay piles and the wood piles and the stone piles, that's exactly what they're for. So it's much less likely you'll have a ton of clay bricks, so probably not. But if you want one, I mean, like, you know, we can certainly go there aesthetically. Is there any current hints as to the Phoenix Empire in the Hearthling's thoughts? I actually don't think so. I think lots of those thoughts were written before we were ready to start talking about the Phoenix Empire, so one of the things that we really do need to go do is go back and update those journal entries and just add a whole bunch more journal entries. It is always fun to watch someone else play Stonehearth. I think it makes it feel alive to us, and it really is motivating for helping us fix things. A variant says there needs to be a buff added to anyone named Rose Bell Tower during game creation for fire resistant. That is an interesting idea. She missed your idea? No. That way you can't change the name and cheat the system? Ah, just an original. He's just a pebble. It was so good. It was so good. Is the little triangle on the clay chairs now based off of your suggestion from forever ago? You know, I'm not really sure. I think Tom added those little... No, one of us added those little triangles, but we added them almost, like, maybe last November. It's just that these are on the fine ones, and this actually is a picture of the fine chair instead of the normal chair. So if you made a fine clay table, you'll see that there's a decor on it, too. Let's see. It's just a twig. Alright, cool. So, starting from the beginning. Clay pile. Clay pile ghost. Description, icon, category. This is actually the first time that I have used like the new to-dos inside the display name. So let's just make sure, like let's look at the potter's wheel or something. Or the weaver spinning wheel, just to make sure. Right. Display name, description. Oh, I'm sorry. It's probably in the recipes. Let me think. Right. So if we went to, right. Clay pile. Right. Clay pile recipe. Flavor. And it would be here. Alright, let's try it. Amazing, honestly, that it comes apart again. Because, I mean, like, if you've ever piled clay on top of clay, like, it's not like if you put 18 pieces of clay in, it's not like you get 18 pieces of clay back out. Okay. Have you guys seen the tutorial? Linda has worked very hard on a tutorial. It actually is a revival of the tutorial that was in the game, like during Alpha 3 and 3.4.5, that era. But that tutorial broke because Tom like was moving the center buttons around, and Linda put it back so that we wouldn't all go hoarse during PAX. Also, because it's generally useful for new people to have a tutorial to sort of get them started. But the prospect of like talking to like 1,000 people and having to explain like how zones worked to each of them, just made us really intimidated, and so we thought it would be worth the work to take the tutorial from the end of the schedule and move at least a little bit of it forward so that you can move forward. Let's see. Alright, so that one's there, the clay pile. Let's do the clay safety standard. Can anyone think of anything that you want, any story you want to tell about the clay safety standard? Let's see. Well, a safety standard is a place you run in case of emergency. Maybe something about how the white cloth and safety aspects of the banner would somehow tie into the monks. Do we have monks per se? We have like members of the Church of Plenty, and we certainly have people from Rise Mystery who meditate. Higher and higher the clay built as the potter worked his magic, ring upon ring smoothed and stretched until it rose quite above his head. A standard of living is never without a place to return. Let's see. A standard of living is never without a place to return to. Like, I feel like it is a pun that hasn't hit me yet. Like, it's definitely a standard. Like, the standard? Like, standard of living people? Like, the standard of living folk is never without a place to return to? In order to have a standard, in order to maintain a good standard of living, you must have a place to return to. Right, I know. It's almost there. That's actually pretty good. Ah, we are just punning. All right. Uh, okay. Used to designate a safety point. Let's see what we can do here. Um, they are wise words. It is true that they are wise. All right. Also, I have trouble ending sentences with prepositions. Um, to achieve a high standard of living. To achieve an ideal standard of living, find safety in numbers. Hey Jamaxro, good to see you. Mysteries and Proverbs 5. Alright. How about that? Someone caught their steak on fire and caused the fire alarm to go off. That sounds like fun. If the Northern Alliance's religion, if they're to have one, broke the mold of the Norse warrior fighting for a seat at the great feast after death. That's actually a really good point. I actually don't think that that is what is up with the Northern Alliance's history, although it's weird because, like, I don't think I've really thought about it too much. Or, sorry, I haven't talked about it too much. I've thought about it a bit. But with any luck, they will not just, you know, be constantly trying to fight. I honestly think the Northern Alliance fights because it's practical, not because they glorify it, actually. Like, they just happen to live in a very cold, very monster-filled region of the world. And I think that the Northern Alliance's main emphasis, what they're really interested in, is exploration. Like, they love the stars, they love charting things, they love finding things that have never been found before. But as a result, they're out there in the middle of nowhere, constantly surrounded by monsters, and maybe, you know, like, the Ascendancy lives in a place that's more civilized because, like, they don't want to they don't mind living in a place where people have lived before. But to, like, a member of the Order of Valen, for example, like, they would want to be the first person to have ever seen something. But we can go through that when we eventually get to the Northern Alliance. $1,000 on school supplies. Wow. That is a lot. Okay. Cool. Alright, what else? The clay market stall. Merchants can visit the stall to buy and sell goods. I feel like the clay market stall is like... Let's just do both market stalls. Let's do the Potter one first, since we're here. There was no point in cutting off the thief's hand. No point at all. Can you put the mandatory change? Sorry, what? Oh, like, I just read these two things. $650 that you spent on books. That's pretty bad. I agree. Alright. In the building of the game, we have half the day to have a carpenter or any farmer while everyone collects logs. They don't count the storage area. Dragomyrus, if you could explain a little more, that would be helpful to me. Like, we wait half the day. Oh, you know, yes, I know what you mean. The reason that the carpenter and the farmer still hauls is because they're, like, because they still have that. We still want them to be able to do that when they're not doing anything, but their job is supposed to take precedence. It's just that if they have the task already before you promote them, then they might not. So if you want to do that, just suspend hauling and just suspend hauling, for example, from their list up here for that person. So like if you don't want the potter to haul anymore, just do that. Yeah. A $100 external hard drive in Photoshop. Eee, that is pretty bad. Oops. Was that an error message? No. Okay, sorry. We return to what we were doing, which was... How about actually making this a quote? Cut off his hand for stealing. So, we'll do that for the clay market stall. Cut off his hand for theft. What would be the point? Talador Rock, Knight of Mysteries. Blue market stall. It already has flavor. But who are these people? And where are they going? I don't remember who wrote that. If it was Linda, it's fantastic. It's pretty good. Alright. Blue clay door. Blue like the dream of a distant ocean. I feel like it's a tour, so like how much more do we want to say? But okay, fine. Alright, blue clay door. It says to do. Right. Edit look string. Blue like the dream of the ocean. Let's see. I feel like there's something here about doors and labyrinths. Like Anasazi buildings and doors like all over the side of a wall. And I mean, like, if anyone's reading Order of the Stick right now, I think that Zycon and his minions are currently in this canyon full of doors, and it's very mysterious and cool. Where did we even get the dye for this? That's actually a really good point, and I think that it's really interesting because that dye, like, it only doesn't make sense if you're actually in Rise Children, because that's actually the same blue that the, Linda's is really good too. Flavor text. It's a door. What more do we want to say? But we need something for marketing purposes. We must be able to sell the door. I'm not easily distracted. Ooh, look, a blue door. Quoted from me. Alright, maybe we could do this. I'm thinking that it probably doesn't need those exterior ones. Right. Cool. So it's like, alright, you can tell now that the Iskender trade caravan is like trying to like come up with like cool things to like say about, you know, each of their things, each of the things that they're selling, but like sometimes it's difficult. Alright, flavor, to do, edit localization string. Can you make the hole a bit smaller? The point is to see who it is without giving away that I'm home. Veritenter. Introvert. That might be insulting to introverts, even though I'm an introvert and I'm always grateful that the people is one way. Green as your friends will be when they see this cool new door. That's pretty good too. The door makes me feel a little blue. Look on every exit as being as being an entrance somewhere else. It's adorable. Oh my goodness. Can't you make the hole a bit smaller? Can you make the hole a little bit? Right, cool. Let's see. And of course, what else do we have? The red clay door. This is actually my favorite door, so I can't believe that the localization string is still to do. It's because I would own the store. Patriotism? Like patriotism because Riot's colors are red? It's so funny because like we were looking for Sharpies so that we could do some exercise with the Post-its, and there were only red and black Sharpies. And I was like, this is weird, like, how come there's only red and black Sharpies? Like, is red really like if you're gonna have two colors of Sharpies, wouldn't you have like black and blue or something? But no, and then I was like, oh, I see, right, because everything's red. Like, everything is red and or black. It's good. Which is great because I mean like if you look at my apartment, everything in my apartment is red and black also. So like, you know, my home taste matches my work taste. It's awesome. Oh, because like Rise Children, everything is red. See, everything is red now. There's a direct correlation to this. This is my, like, the color scheme for Rise Children is red and gold in all of the templates because I made the templates. Like, I remember Tom and I had this great conversation where he was like, well, we need this cyan color, and we also need this, like, blue, and, like, you know, and he'd picked, like, a really, like, to my eyes, obnoxious color of cyan, which, like, later became the trim on all of the fine desks and the fine chairs and tables. And I was like, I would never buy that piece of furniture, ever in a million years, no. And he was like, well, what would you buy then? And I was like, this! And in silent defiance, I made all of the templates red and gold, even though he had provided a ton of different colors for clay. But you know, hey, that's what happens when you make the templates, right? Does anyone ever actually use the fine stuff, or you just sell it like the money-hungry goblins we all are secretly inside? That's a really lovely question, because I was actually just having this debate with myself yesterday when I was playing the game, and I was playing it on peaceful mode, and I was seriously like, thank God I'm playing on peaceful mode, I can actually keep all my fine things instead of having to sell them. So yes, I actually think the fine things look really cool. And a finely kitted Ascendancy with all that blue and gold everywhere makes me super happy. The red hints a mystery, a lure. What lies beyond yon red door? You love the red bench. It's pretty good. I agree. Yeah, it's pretty good. Alright, let's do it. Amber Iskander, Department of Applied Poetry. Very nice. Oh, who the Sid Rai equivalent of the Northern Alliance is? It's Valen. Valen the Brave, Valen the Wanderer, Valen the Explorer, Valen the Knight. Like, knight is a good word for it, but like I guess Sid is already a knight, so maybe we should really think of something else. But Valen is the teacher from the Northern Alliance, the teacher figure from the Northern Alliance who decided that instead of becoming embroiled in a war with the Phoenix that they absolutely could not win, that his people should instead go north and explore and find greatness, like in their deeds rather than in building cities and stuff. So, yeah. Alright. The die is named for Santorini, an acolyte who longed for the ocean. Right, okay. A soothing blue latticed window. I'm disconcerted by the way that it's red still inside the window, but okay, cool. Let's just go with it. I feel like the red latticed window, this one, is one of my favorites here. And it was, as the shadows move across the floor, child, see if you can find monkey, because like, right. Alright, blue latticed window. Let's see. What should we say about the blue latticed window? If it isn't good enough the first time, it's still good enough. I'm actually really like, I've discovered that I'm not I'm not a fan of editing. Like I'm really like I can edit words, I can edit phrases, I can edit like writing for the sound of it, but I'm really terrible, it turns out, at editing stories as if they were puzzles. And I think that there are people who are very good at it and who see like, it's like they read a book, they read a story, and they can be like, all right, I need to rearrange the pieces yet again in order to put them in the right order to evoke the right things. And I'm really not good at that either. Like I'm very frustrated. It's like, oh, but I wrote it already, it's so perfect. Like I feel like I'm always destroying things. Like it's like, and that hesitance to destroy your own work makes editing really difficult. It's vanity, I'm sure. I will get over it soon. How about... Let's in the bugs, but at least not the really big ones. The shadows move through like waves of a faraway ocean. No, but really, where is this die coming from? Those are all pretty good. Alright, tell you what, let's do the die one for here. I do like that. And... I feel like that's actually kind of funny too, because Ali is often talking about like how artists used to make their own paints, and everything that is blue is like really deadly. Alright, so let's actually do the one about the bugs for the tan latticed window, because it's too good. Alright, tan latticed window. Flavor, to do. Edit look string. We're in a desert. What do you expect? Alright, cool. This one is... It's not the clay that's dyed blue, but ourselves. Wow. Wow, that's deep. This editor is indeed available for modders, Bruno Supremo. Ask Yang about it if you'd like it. I believe Shed is available from Stonehearth, from the Stonehearth GitHub thing. Yeah, this is Stonehearth Editor, so you can download it from GitHub, and let's see if there's some instructions about how to get it to go. Yeah, you'll need this Microsoft thing and this JSON framework. And I've never actually used Shed from outside, so you might just have to play around with it and ask around on the forum and see how it is, or you can ask Gang. Let's see. Alright, right. What were we doing? Let's in the bugs, but at least not the really big one. Yeah. Let's in the bugs, but at least not the really big ones. Drankar Iskender, ex-marketing associate. Gareth Loremaker, what about that name is catching your attention? Yeah, he's pretty cool. His job is to manage the bugs. Sorry, to manage the mods, so you figure he's pretty meta in the universe of meta. Alright, green latticed window. Green latticed window. It's a Windows dream of spring. Alright. See, here's the thing. Like, it is actually possible to get this window if you are in the Ascendancy. So you may in fact have it when you're not in the desert. Let's see. We should do all of these in Zen koans. That would be awesome. Let's see. Who developed the calendar names of the months? That was me. I think it's so funny. It's like 3 years later, Tony was like, hey, these names mean something. We were very proud of him. Good night, Mally. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see. But I do think it's like perfect for vines to grow. Maybe it's like, how about brings the vine. All the benefits of twining. Reminiscence of the tree houses you knew and loved back home. I actually really like that because it's like, who is home and who wrote this? And yeah. Alright. A touch of green to replace all those trees that down their way into a patchwork. Bit of light to come into our lives. Wow. Alright. A reminder of your fading ties back home. It's kind of interesting because it's like that is even more vague. It's like Halo Kills. It's like, but I almost wonder if it's more evocative. It's like, what? It's a little bit of a non sequitur. Like, why does this remind someone of their home? Who is the you? Like, if it's the ascendancy in the desert, well, that kind of makes sense. But like, if it's just Rise children somewhere, like, you know, let's check what's going on actually with the green window, because it should be at least a little related. It's a window's dream of spring, right? Because things turn green in the spring. It's a window's dream of spring. That's actually a flower reference. It's a flower's dream of spring because it's a windowsill. Yeah, not all RC followers were born into the kingdom. Some had other origins. Ascendancy, you headcanon the Ascendancy home has protected old growth forests filled with tree houses. That's a really beautiful headcanon. Is Ali still online? I really like that. That is gorgeous. Will players ever be able to play as a bunny faction? At the moment we don't have plans for that, but yeah, you should totally just mod it in. Like, you know, swap in all the heads and all the bodies with the buns and go from there. We've thought about it, and it might one day be possible, but I would go with the mods for the moment. The reason that I hesitate to say, yeah, you can totally play as the bunny people, and the reason I think it would be a long time from now and a modding thing for sure is because the bunny people are like technologically radically different from your hearthlings. So if you did play as the bunny people, it would be like if we suddenly had elves or something, it would be like, well, why are you chopping down all these trees? Like, you should have a completely different relationship to the natural world. You should have a different relationship to mining and to caves. You might have a completely different kind of tech that you use. You know, the bunny people are like the impression I always got from Tom's art of them is that they're this like honorable samurai warrior race, and that would have an entirely different tone and an entirely different playstyle sort of associated with it. And they're like a really old race. They come from a long time ago, and as you can tell from those bunny statues everywhere, like there's a significance and a weight to them. And so in order to carry that through, it would be like a significantly different game if you were playing them. That would be my ideal. And since we have our hands more than full with the game that we're making, I would say that that is quite a far off aspirational thing if we ever did get to it. Let's see. You're squishing not only turtles but also your heart. Just like cute bolds, indeed. Will we be getting geomancers? I mean, have we worked on them at all? We have not actually worked on the geomancer yet, per se, but we think about the geomancer all the time when we think about terrain and dirt, which we've been thinking about a lot this release. So, no geomancer yet, but we're making sure that we don't like head off or cut off or prevent our ability to work on the geomancer. Right. Okay. This isn't quite right, but like, a fresh breeze is always an indicator that the seasons are waiting around each corner. A sign that the season, yeah, seasons would be cool. Let's just leave that there. Okay, and it is 7:05. So let us close this down and open it up again and see how far we've gotten. Wow, it's a little ominous that the UI wasn't there both those times. We think that only happens here in test worlds. Something about the way the test world comes up. Right. Red clay window. Okay. So we've still got a bunch to go for the next time that we decide to do this as a team, which I enjoy because I find it very like relaxing compared to a bunch of other things that we could be doing on stream. So quite a few. Well, this was good progress for today. Let's see. Let me open our editor or our Git thing. And just make sure that that works. Thank you so much for the stream. You couldn't ask for a better last stream. Thank you so much for coming. And hope that your schedule works out again so that we can hang out some more. And feel free to send me more links to your fanfiction because it is lovely fanfiction. Well, actually, it's not even fanfiction. Let's just call it fiction. Like, because, you know, these are your characters too, right? Let's stage these. Okay. Let's close this. Let's do the localization pass. Okay, so this will have changed like the text that we wrote into i18n things, which is about right. And then en.json, so now the flavor is down here. Let's do this again to make sure that it, whoops, no. Hopefully nothing too crazy happened. That was not what I intended. Let's just make sure that the strings are still right in the game. They should be, because they look right, but you never know. You love the idea for the book for the World's Edge. It is an amazing idea. It's very evocative. Like, it makes my heart hurt. I think I like the map better, personally, because it just goes with that sense of exploration. Like, I know exactly what Stonehearth, and tangibleness. I know exactly what Stonehearth is when I see that the map, when I see that the land is inside a map. Cool. They're still words. This is a good thing. Alright, awesome. So we will check these in too. Stage. Commit. I think it's that like when I see the map, I think, oh, I could buy a map and then put it on my own table, and then like as I looked at the map it would come alive. Whereas like the book's metaphor is a little bit more abstract, like what I could get a book and then I open the book and then inside the book is Stonehearth. Like it's more like, oh, I read the book and then like the world that I imagine inside is Stonehearth, and it's like it's two mental steps instead of one mental step. Why not a map book? Yeah, so like there's another one that she's done which is a book of maps, and that one makes me really happy too. We have some problems there with regards to like what happens when you dig down, like because like if it's inside the book then you're like, okay, well I'm digging into the pages of the book, but if you dig down in the map then you're like, but aren't there other pages on the other maps? So there's some things to still solve there, but it's very, very cool. Oh yeah, then that makes you want to explore more, right? The ground is already in layers like pages. Okay, neat. All right, I think we are good for today. Thank you all so much for your awesome suggestions for the lore. It is beautiful stuff, and I look forward to coming back and doing this some more some other time when we are at a good space for coming up with words. So streams will happen tomorrow. Ali's stream will happen tomorrow at 8:30 as usual, and then there's going to be no stream on Thursday because we're all flying to Seattle. So if you're in Seattle, please come and say hi. And then there'll be no stream. My stream next Tuesday won't happen because I'll still be in Seattle. But Ali's stream next Wednesday will happen, which just means that Ali is cooler than all of us and is way more capable of, like, has way more scheduling skills and tolerance for getting up early to stream. And then Yang's stream on Thursday will happen as usual next week. So I won't see you guys for 2 weeks, but I'm looking forward to coming back, and I'm already looking forward to PAX, although like Brad has given me like a giant laundry list of things to shop for when I get to Seattle, and they include things like hand sanitizers and like a whole bunch of Advil and stuff, and it's like, oh man, Brad, okay, cool. Like, it's good to be prepared. So alright, bye Turtle Squish. It has been it has been wonderful to see you tonight. Good night, Halo Kills. Good night, Austrian Gamer. Austria Gamer, thank you for coming by for your first stream. Okay, good night everybody. It is always a lot of fun to hang out with you, and I will see you in 2 weeks. You got here at the end, the Timo. Curses. You go live at Stonehearth in a bit. Alright, well, have a good dinner and have a good stream. Good night, Timor. Good night, Keister.